Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, I got a couple nicknames, a couple titles that I go by. Some of them I'm proud of, some of them not so much. But one title I'm very proud of is the title of Bringer of Bad News for Leftoids. I'm that guy, that's what I do here, people. If you're a communist, well, I might just ruin your day. Sorry, not sorry. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, folks, today we're putting that title to use. Let's be the bearer of bad Democrat Party news. It seems as though your little last-ditch effort, your little panic plan B here isn't exactly going to work out. I'm seeing literal thousands of Democrats across Twitter calling to replace Joe Biden. He must be replaced. He's going to lose to Trump. Everybody's talking about replacing Joe ahead of the convention, but it really is just that. It's all talk. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. To replace or not to replace? That seems to be the question. What are the Democrats gonna do? I absolutely think that the Democrat Party should replace Joe Biden, but the replacement should have probably been announced 12 months ago. And so now the question is, are Democrats gonna swap candidates right ahead of Election Day? Well, I just can't see that happening, and it seems as though some of the top Democrat supporters and donors, well, they've made the decision. They're sticking by Joe. Democrat mega donor Reid Hoffman, that's LinkedIn's co-founder Reid Hoffman, is one of those Democrats. He had the highest of hopes for Biden. In fact, this was what he was saying before the debate.
I've had a 2-hour lunch with Biden. Like, it's very popular to say, well, he's old, he's not cognitively with it. In a 2-hour conversation, he was asking me questions about AI. He was explaining stuff that was going on in nuanced detail in Israel. He was kind of saying, look, this is what I care about your average worker, and this is what we need to be doing. And how can you, technology industry, be helping the average worker? Look, it was a 2-hour robust conversation. He's good.
This guy had the highest hopes for Joe and obviously was let down. But despite that, he's doubling down in his support for Joe Biden. Here's an email from Reid Hoffman. Biden, the debate and the election. Friends for truth, decency in the American way. I got a lot of emails in the last 24 hours asking whether there should be a public campaign to pressure President Biden to step aside after his very bad debate performance last night. It certainly delivered a blow to the mood among donors and organizers. Unfortunately, people see Joe's age, expressed through slower motion and speech, more than Donald's age, expressed through dementia. What? Okay. And the debate exacerbated these concerns about Joe, enough that people saw these more than Trump's many lies. I think such a campaign to get Biden to step down would be a bad idea for a few reasons. First, Joe is our nominee. Any decision to step aside is up to him and his family, period. If anything, a public effort might compel the Bidens to try to prove the doubters wrong. Joe is a resolute fighter after all. Alright, well, you pretty much get it. Blah, 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 Trump MAGA threat to democracy, blah, 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 34 felonies, blah, 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 TLDR, a bunch of left-wing nonsense and Democrat lies, all to say that Joe Biden stays on. Look, guys, I know we spend a whole lot of time going on about Democrat insanity, the idiocy and insanity of the left, but they're not that stupid, especially not the leadership. They know there's no other choice. It's Joe Biden or bust. A lot of people are predicting that this whole thing was planned. They sent Biden out there to make a fool of himself so they could replace him with Gavin Newsom.
How are the Democrats allowing Joe Biden to do a debate? Have you been paying attention? The guy is a vegetable. He's gone. He belongs in a nursing home. He can barely finish a sentence. The Democrats had to know that. Why would you agree to a debate with Biden at this stage, the earliest debate of all time, when you know he's gone, when you know he can't speak, when you know he's a vegetable? Because they want to whack him. Because they know he is not going to be the nominee. I said this 10 months ago, 11 months ago, when Gavin Newsom, and go look who's trending, Gavin Newsom. It's so obvious. Why, as a governor, are you taking a tour of the world? For what purpose? Because he knew, and the Democrats have known, Joe Biden is gone. He's gone, and they need somebody else.
You know, it sounds fun, and of course it's very fun to engage in this sort of speculation, but it just doesn't make sense. And actually, MSNBC did a little bit of a rundown.
In the Economist YouGov poll, same poll, Joe Biden was sitting at 39%. She's at 37%. So if you're looking to the vice president, you have to ask yourself, does that actually put you, if you're a Democrat, in a better position politically? And then the question would become, if you say it doesn't, would Kamala Harris also agree to step aside and let a brand new ticket come in? Or is that something she would fight? Would you have complications there? But if you got to that next level and it's not Kamala Harris, then the issue is stature. who of any stature could you put in who Democrats would agree on, there'd be consensus immediately, and maybe who the country knows? And there's not much polling on some of the names that you hear. This was conducted by Ipsos for an interest group earlier this year. And there's a lot of names I would like to test, but these are the three that they did test in this poll, just to give you a sense of it. Pete Buttigieg, favorable 30, unfavorable 28. That's still a lot who don't know him. Gavin Newsom, look at that. Almost half the country doesn't have an opinion of him, but those that do, it's already double digits negative. Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, the vast majority, no opinion of her, 17 among those who do. And again, there's other names out there you're already probably hearing, like Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota. But this is a sense of the numbers. When you get beyond Biden and Harris and those big name national figures, you get a lot of people. It's a question mark. Michelle Obama, the last time we polled her on this question of favorable, unfavorable, now it's been a few years, but it was 57, I'll try to write this down. It was 57% favorable and just 25% unfavorable. So that's the kind of profile just in terms of, widely known, and look at that, much more popular, more than twice as popular as unpopular there in the poll. That's the kind of profile the Democrats would probably want in this situation. But beyond Michelle Obama, not sure where you could find that, Chris.
It simply doesn't make any sense for a multitude of reasons. The timing just doesn't make sense. Who's going to want to vote for a party in disarray, a dysfunctional political organization that legitimately propped up a dementia patient as their president, then of course lied to you about it for 4 years, only to then pull the rug right from under you? I just don't see it happening. I cannot see a scenario where a last-second switcheroo here ends positively. Too much confusion, party chaos, and dysfunction. Not exactly the type of stuff that builds confidence, huh? But unfortunately to leftoids, that isn't even their biggest problem. The biggest roadblock that they're running into in their quest to replace Joe Biden is the lack of alternatives. If Joe Biden was to drop out of the race, that would leave the Democrat Party scrambling to find a viable alternative candidate. Well, what options do they have? According to MSNBC's analysis, no one other than maybe Michelle Obama if she signals that she wants to run, but I don't even think Michelle Obama would be able to get the job done. With what, maybe 4.5, 5 months left ahead of Election Day? It's just not realistic. The only actual option that Democrats have, funnily enough, is what Cenk Uygur is advocating for.
If the Democrats don't replace him, the country will be forced to look at RFK Jr. And I'm forced into that. Because this guy isn't going to win. Biden is definitely not going to win. It's not even close.
Replacing Joe Biden with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he's actually suggested that he's up for it.
Nobody's got better Democratic bona fides than you do. And they just pushed you out because of how toxic the party system has become. But now the guy they pushed you out for is in free fall. So, I'm just throwing it out there because it would really solve their problems and yours at the same time.
Yeah, I cannot predict what they're going to do. I mean, I'm going to.
Would you be open to talking to them? If they reached out to you, Bobby, would you be talking to them?
Of course I would. Of course I would talk to them. It would put me on the ballot with nobody trying to get me off.
That is literally their only option. And I have to tell you, that's probably the scariest option. We're talking about a left-wing to independent and even libertarian coalition. If the DNC was actually to rally behind RFK Jr., I promise you that would be very scary for the Trump campaign. But again, it just doesn't seem likely. The DNC hates Robert F. Kennedy Jr., for Pete's sakes. It seems as though Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s own Democrat family frickin' hates him.
I do worry that Bobby just taking some percentage of votes from Biden could shift the election and lead to Trump's election.
He's trading in on Camelot, celebrity, conspiracy theories, and conflict for personal gain and fame.
There's simply no way, because if the DNC was to pick RFK Jr., well, they would be electing him as their actual leader, meaning he'd be their new executive, setting the tone and the party's priorities. There is simply no way the deep state Democrat handlers relinquish their power like that. They would much rather have Joe Biden as a puppet, or maybe even a second Donald Trump term, giving them 4 years to rally and continue to fearmonger. I'd say they'd much rather that than ever pick RFK Jr., and so I really think this we're replacing Joe Biden thing, well, it's just extremely unlikely. Although crazier things have happened. Will it be Gavin Newsom? Or will it be Michelle Obama? Will it be RFK Jr.? Or will it be just Joe? I guess we'll have to stay tuned to find out. That's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.